South Africa finds itself, yet again, at a critical crossroad, not because of some sudden catastrophe, but because of silence at the top. President Cyril Ramaphosa, often branded as the listening president, is under intense fire for what many describe as his failure to act decisively, communicate effectively, or reassure the nation in times of crisis. Increasingly, his silence has become louder than any words he might offer, and the consequences are being felt across the political, social, and economic spectrum. For a leader once celebrated as the hope after the turbulent Zuma years, Ramaphosa's presidency is starting to look like a masterclass in missed opportunities. The recent backlash is not just about a single event but rather a growing accumulation of moments where leadership was needed and failed to appear. One of the strongest criticisms leveled at Ramaphosa is his timing. When major issues erupt, be it violent protests, a power crisis, government corruption scandals, or escalating unemployment, the president is often perceived as slow to address the nation. Citizens complain that while other world leaders stand firmly before their people in the midst of crises, Ramaphosa tends to retreat into silence, issuing statements only after the storm has already taken its toll. South Africans remember the 2021 July unrest, when the nation burned and lives were lost. Communication from the presidency was seen as late and lukewarm, lacking the urgency needed to calm tensions. More recently, the energy crisis and the rolling blackouts known as load shedding have become symbols of leadership failure. Businesses crumble, households suffer, and yet clear, transparent, and consistent messaging from the highest office often feels absent. Leadership is not only about policy. It is about presence. Ramaphosa's reluctance to step into the front lines has created a vacuum where uncertainty thrives. In South Africa, uncertainty translates into fear, division, and economic instability. Every time the president fails to communicate clearly, ordinary citizens pay the price. Investors lose confidence in the government's ability to provide stability. Communities lose faith in promises of reform. The poor, already crushed by rising unemployment and inflation, feel abandoned by a government that appears distant and detached. When leadership fails to speak, conspiracy theories fill the silence. Social media becomes a battleground of speculation, anger, and mistrust. Citizens no longer look to the presidency for clarity, they look to one another for explanations. This erosion of trust is perhaps the gravest consequence of all. Part of Ramaphosa's hesitance is explained by his political reality. Leading the African National Congress, ANC, a party deeply fractured by competing factions, is no small task. Every word he utters risks alienating one group or empowering another. Analysts argue that Ramaphosa's balancing act, trying to hold together a divided party, has paralyzed his ability to govern with authority. Instead of leading boldly, he often chooses caution. Instead of speaking directly, he opts for careful phrasing that offends no one. But in politics, silence is never neutral. To the people, it looks like weakness. To his rivals, it signals vulnerability. And to the broader nation, it feels like abandonment. South Africans are known for resilience, but patience is wearing thin. Communities living with constant blackouts, joblessness, and crumbling public services are demanding accountability. Each time Ramaphosa stays quiet in the face of crisis, the frustration deepens. Opposition parties have seized the moment, painting Ramaphosa as indecisive and ineffective. Civil society movements, unions, and youth organizations echo the same sentiment. Leadership is not just about being present in parliament or at international summits, it is about being present with the people, especially when they are suffering. South Africa has seen powerful leadership before. Nelson Mandela, despite his many challenges, understood the importance of speaking to the nation with honesty, courage, and hope. Thabo Mbeki, even with his flaws, often engaged intellectually with the crises of his time. What South Africans crave today is not perfection, but presence. The truth is, words matter. A president who addresses the nation consistently and transparently can calm fears, inspire unity, and strengthen resilience. Silence, on the other hand, deepens divisions and leaves citizens directionless. Ramaphosa's presidency is far from over, but his legacy is already being written. If he continues to shy away from clear and decisive communication, history may remember him less as the man who fought corruption or stabilized the economy, and more as the president who failed to speak when his people needed him most. The question South Africans are now asking is simple: can Ramaphosa find his voice before it's too late? Can he shift from cautious silence to bold leadership? Or will his presidency remain defined by missed chances and quiet failures? Because in the end, silence is not neutral. Silence is costly. And when leadership fails to speak, South Africa, its people, its economy, and its future pays the price.